Hey, it's Meg. Welcome back to my channel. Happy New Year and happy Junk Journal January. Today's video is an exciting collaboration for Junk Journal January. You'll find the playlist linked down below, and today I'm going to be talking about my favourite technique, which is collage. So let's organise our papers. I section my papers into three main groups. So first up is the background papers. These are the scrap brown papers, the plain papers, things that don't have too much interest but that I can use as a background layer when I am starting off my collage, especially if they are larger elements. The second group of papers are for your middle ground, so think about things that have a little bit more interest but they are not something that you would have as a main focus. So these could be book pages, music sheets, maybe some scrapbook paper, anything that has more visual interest but isn't a focal point, so kind of a happy medium. And don't forget, these can also be some of your smaller scraps. And then the third and final group is the focal images in the foreground papers. So for me, I like to use a lot of floral imagery, but this can be any kind of imagery that you want as your focal point. And I find keeping it simple with these three main groups is a really easy way to get started with doing some collage in your journal. So the first way I'm going to show you how to incorporate collage clusters into your journal or with ephemera is by creating these tags you can use as journal cards. Another easy way to create collage clusters, especially with small scraps, is to create these cute little date numbers, and all you need is just large scraps of paper. So here I just have some brown packing paper and some that I have coffee dyed, and then all I'm doing is using some number stamps and just stamping on the dates. I'm doing them just sort of in an even and an odd, just to give some variety when I come to use them in my journal. And if you don't have any stamps, you can maybe use a stencil or just write them out by hand, and then you can either use a paper trimmer to cut these out, but I prefer just to rip them by hand because I think that it gives a nice textured look when we come to layer up with different papers. So all I'm doing is just ripping them and sectioning them off into the individual numbers. And then all I did was grab a selection of offcuts from a project I'm working on. These don't have to be like really large pieces of paper, so it's great for those pieces of paper that might otherwise end up in the recycling. So save all your tiny little scraps, and we are following the exact same method of layering up some of our background papers and then the more detailed papers, and then finally that pink piece, which is a little bit more of a focal point. And here is the finished piece ready to use in your journal. So a way that I like to use these is just to grab a paper clip and then maybe a photo or an image that I want to include in my journal and just paper clip it on. The third way that you can incorporate collage clusters into your junk journal is by creating one of these quote cards. These are great if you like to collect quotes maybe from books or podcasts, or even just as extra journaling space, because these can easily be tucked into envelopes or pockets. So all you will need is some thicker paper or card. If you don't have this, you can just layer up a few pieces of paper just to make something that's a bit sturdier. And then we are going to apply the exact same process again, super simple. So we're going to start off with our plainer base layers. I've used the sewing paper just to create a nice backdrop for the whole card. And then I'm coming in with different tones, so the brown paper, tea-dyed paper, and then I'm adding a pop of pink as well, just as a little bit of interest. Again, layering now some more detailed pieces, so we have book papers, things with some visual interest on them. Another thing you can add into your collages as well is also washi tape. That's a great way to add some detail. And then finally, my focal point is this little butterfly that I have cut out from a book, and I just think that this is a really nice way to embellish a quote card. And then I'm just finishing it off with my corner rounder. Of course, you can also use scissors for this if you don't have a corner rounder. And then you have a nice little quote card that you can fill out and use within your journal. Like I said, in pockets, as tip-ins. There's loads of different ways that you can use this. So I'm showing you here how you can just take some washi tape and use it as a tip-in. So it can be some extra journaling space. It can act as hidden journaling. It's just a really nice addition. So I thought I would show you how I use this simple collage process to put together a page in my journal. So if you are going to be following along with us this month for the Junk Journal January challenge, I will leave the prompts up on the screen and all the details will be down below. So the page that I'm creating here is for the first prompt, which is New Beginnings. So as this is the first page in this journal, I kind of wanted it to act a bit like a title page, so I'm really focusing on just having a big collage cluster in the middle of the page. So I'm taking lots of different elements, working with the elements that I already have on the page from the accordion journal, and really making that floral cutout the focal point. And how I'm doing that is layering papers underneath to ensure that the image on top really pops. And so I'm adding lots of different textures and patterns. So I've got like patterned tissue paper and book paper, and I like to test out how the papers are going to look before I decide to glue them down, because the last thing I want to do is glue it down and realize that I actually wanted a different piece of paper or I wanted it the other way round. So a top tip is to definitely test out how your collages are going to look before you glue them down, and this just makes sure that it's going to turn out the way that you would like. So if you create any pages this month using the Junk Journal January prompts, I would love to see them. So if you post on Instagram, make sure you use the hashtag Junk Journal January. That is the best place to share your pages. You can also see what everyone else is creating. I find the best thing about this challenge is always seeing how people have interpreted different prompts and come up with different ideas. So if you're looking for inspiration, definitely check out the hashtag, because we always have lots of amazing posts going on in there. And you can also use the hashtag on YouTube if you would like to share a video process or a flip through. And of course, don't forget to check out the Junk Journal January collaboration playlist. You will find lots of inspiration in that playlist. We are all sharing our favourite junk journal techniques. You'll find lots of ideas, tips and tricks, maybe some new ways of doing things in your journal. So I hope you enjoy taking part in this challenge. Maybe you will also do some collage clusters in your junk journals. I would love to see them. It's honestly my favourite technique, so that's why I wanted to share it with you guys. As always, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.